right, who wants to hear about high-octane adventures and the latest and greatest on the motor scene? It's time to rev it up with John and Jess on Joy 1340.
Welcome back to Rev It Up with John and Jess, coming at you on Joy 1340 AM and 98.7 FM.
All right. Well, everybody's having great fun outside with the below zero temps.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it.
So let's bring a guest on right away today. Paul Adamec. I want to make sure we got that right. Right, Paul? Is that right? Are you there, sir?
Yep, Paul Adamec.
Paul Adamec. See,
You didn't have it right.
It's a little shtick that I do to screw everybody's names up.
That's all right. Everybody screws it up. So.
Accidentally on purpose.
Well, we want to bring Paul on because he's got a great group he put together. The Southeastern Wisconsin Car Show Expo that he does every year at the Knights of Columbus Hall, right on the south side, Paul? Is that what you do?
South Milwaukee.
South Milwaukee, okay. And because it's so cold, let's talk about the summer shows. And, Paul, you've been doing this for how long now?
Since 2008.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it started out at, the first one I ever did was at Amelia's. And the only reason why I did it is because I had a car show that I wanted to plan, but I didn't know when to plan it. So, I'm thinking, why couldn't I get, like, all the car clubs together, like local guys, and, we had Amelia's little back room that holds maybe about 30 people, and it was pretty full. And they, I got quite a few people in there, and, it's like, hey, let's do this again next year, but let's plan it a little bit earlier in the year, because I think I did it, like, around, like, March or April the first year I ever did it. And, the more and more I got interest in this, I said, well, I'm not going to be able to do it at Amelia's. As much as I wanted to, Al was a great friend, God rest his soul. But he, I just didn't have the room, so I moved over to Knights of Columbus. And a couple people from the, I guess, former Wisco Maniacs. I don't know if they're around anymore.
Okay.
But Ann Brotland, she was part of that, and she says, hey, why don't you have it at the Knights of Columbus? Because there's a couple other people there that were car show people there as well. So I said, all right. So I started out, and it was the next year's maybe about 50 people or so, and then it grew. And now I'm, what I did in the past is just have everybody, stand up, talk about the car shows, and kind of get an idea.
Kind of network, if you will, right? Like networking?
Networking, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's plan our car shows now so they're not being planned on the same weekend.
Right.
Most of the people, they do their car shows for a charity. And, we all want the best for our charities. And, we want to make the best of it. We want everybody to be there, not just have one, two car shows the same day, two different clubs.
Yeah.
And, now, okay, which one are we going to go to? Well, I'm going to these guys, because as well as I do, there's a lot of politics in car clubs and everything else. Which,
Oh, you don't say, really? Are you sure?
Boy, am I finding that out.
What's that?
I said, boy, am I finding that out.
Yeah. But, and I always wanted to try to just help make the best for everybody's show. So I kept this going. And now, instead of having everybody get up and talk and, it gets to be kind of a long, drawn out day. I turned it more into an expo now. So in other words, you can, I have had a lot of people contact me as far as, hey, how do I get a table, this and that. It's free to come. It's free to vend. Alley Rats is sponsoring this year, and they, they'll sponsor the rental for the hall. So they, I've had other people, random people come up. Simcoe has sponsored me in the past, a couple other people, which is really nice because I don't make any money off this. It's never my intent to make any money off of this. It's just to help our car community in southeastern Wisconsin and further out to get a date for their show and to get the word out as well.
Okay. So you have, I was actually at this one a couple years back, and it was actually really interesting, Jess. So basically what you did is Paul started, I believe he started May or January, I think he always started. And then he said, okay, so who's here for January? And then people would say what shows they have for January.
Okay.
And Paul would go all the way through the year, and you stand up with your flyer, and they would say what our show is and when it is and what the kind of give you a little background of what the show pertains. If it's a charity or if they have any events for the kids and stuff like that. So I thought it was great what he's doing. He's been carrying on for a while. And the Alley Rats, for our listeners who doesn't know, that's actually they're a pretty old car club here in South Milwaukee, right, Paul?
They are, yes. Yep.
Okay. And Simcoe, for the guys that Wisconsinites, and actually that show is going to be known all over the country now. Simcoe is the one that's over by kind of like Iola. Simcoe is, I believe, John Spence's show up there, where they do the whole town with the Rockabilly show. So that's a great show. So he's been a great sponsor of his also. So there's a lot of great car clubs that come to your event now and doing some stuff. And I know you've had a lot of stuff before with, I believe, didn't you have a lot of announcers before? You had Arlo and Captain Bob there for Hot Rod Radio for a while, right? Doing stuff?
Yeah, Captain Bob and Arlo, they would, they would support me 100% on this stuff, which was really nice.
Yeah.
They did a lot of advertising and stuff like that. They actually sponsored the show, or sponsored the meeting, 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
It was, they're Captain Bob and Arlo. They're great friends, and I'm thankful for not only them, but for everybody who participates and helps sponsor this event, because it's not for me. Like I said before, it's for everybody. It's for the whole car community. It's for, even people who don't have cars. They just like to go look at car shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're welcome to stop in too. Next year we'll be doing it about the same time as we did it this year. February, early February, mid-February. I usually kind of revolve it around the Super Bowl.
You kind of have to.
Week before or week after the Super Bowl, because there's really nothing going on anyway. So that's about when I do it. Some people ask, well, we didn't get our stuff ready yet. I'm like, well, it's time to get ready, because I've done it in February in the past. Last couple of years, I think I've done it in March, only because of my neglect of not getting the haul in time.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot to do, and Jess and I wanted to actually bring it through. We've been discussing with Paul for a little bit here to kind of collaborate, I guess, network together, I guess we'll call it.
Okay.
As far as when we'll bring it out to the public now, we've been talking about bringing the Facebook page for the car show calendar, and Paul, of course, has been in this for so many years, so I feel it's only right to bring Paul on as part of this. And he, of course, we've already invested in doing the Facebook page and all the media. So I'd like to, let everybody know today that Paul is actually going to be one of the guys that's going to be one of the mediators on the page, or administrators.
Thanks, Paul.
And Paul,
thank you.
Yeah, and Paul, actually, we're going to be having one of our big displays at World of Wheels this year also. Mm-hmm. And every year at World of Wheels, I believe it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but they always had a big table, and I believe that was Captain Bob and Arlo who did that before for all the car shows that was out there, and you could pick up your flyers and stuff. So we actually want to invite Paul, so every year we're going to do this. And we'll have a table at our stand this year for Rev It Up with John and Jess, and we do it every year there, that we'll have all your car show flyers there. So
nice.
Whoever, Paul will bring it through at his show, at his meetings and stuff, and let everybody know on the Facebook page that you can bring all your flyers, everything that you have in. We'll be setting up on Wednesday and Thursday at World of Wheels, or bring them in Friday or Saturday and bring them out there so people can let them know at World of Wheels and get all your shows out. So, and that, again, Paul, great thing. Props to you for doing this, and Jess and I and our great sponsor to be able to do this free of charge, so there's no charge. Just bring your flyers there and drop them off, and people can grab all your car show stuff, and we'll have it all advertised for you. So we're hoping to keep all the good traditions alive in Wisconsin and keep doing this too. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll also have, if somebody doesn't want set up a booth or anything to advertise their show, I also do have a table there, that we always set out if people just want to come and drop flyers off. They don't want to sit there all day, but they want to get the word out for their show. I do the same thing at the car show expo.
Okay.
So they don't have to sit there all day. There's I usually have a food truck and stuff out there. There's always drinks to be had, which is always good.
You got to have food, man.
Got to have food.
Got to have food.
And again, if somebody wants to go to these expos, now this one obviously just happened, but you have this at the Knights of Columbus on 1709 South Milwaukee. Actually, there's two addresses, 1709 South Milwaukee and 732 Badger Avenue, which is the one, I saw it both on the Facebook page.
The one on Badger Avenue.
One on Badger Avenue. Okay, and then if they go through with that, can they call you personally on their cell phone, or what's your contact info for them?
Well, if I'm going to keep the southeastern Wisconsin, I'm going to keep the event open. Plus, I'm going to be probably creating a Facebook page because a lot of people at the expo were asking me, how can we keep up with this throughout the year? Given the fact now that I'll be kind of on your page,
Yep.
I'm going to network that way. Plus, I'm going to network. I'm going to create my own Facebook page for this too.
Awesome.
I think you really need to because you don't need to be piggybacking off anybody else. This, of course, would be the main page, but people need to find you directly to get out because
Sure.
you're a pillar in the car show community. I mean, you're not a spring chicken. You've been doing it a while. I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I give Paul some flack. Come on, he's old. He's a cool guy. He's got still a killer Chevelle. I know that for sure.
Well, Paul, I know you have somewhat limited time today, but one question I want to ask of you is, how did you get started in the culture?
Like the whole car thing?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I mean this goes back to my dad.
It usually does.
Yeah, he was pretty adamant about taking us to Hills Corner Speedway on Friday and Saturday nights. And, we hit up. Back then, we're talking early '80s, late '70s, early '80s. Now I'm really aging myself.
Oh come on, those are the best years of our lives.
No
man.
kidding.
Yeah, but we used to. And back then we didn't have the car shows like we have now.
No.
We had, if there was like maybe 3-4 in a summer, that's about all we had. And my dad was also an auto body teacher at MATC years ago, so he was a car guy too. He never really owned anything. He just kind of, helped us, me and my brother, what we had. And
Nothing wrong with that.
I bought my Chevelle when I was 17, and to this day I still have it. So
That's
30,
cool.
almost 34 years I've actually owned my car. But yeah, it all stems back to my dad and friends of his, which was kind of a inspiration. Hey, we want cool cars, just like this guy's got with the nice chrome Traeger rims back then and the 70s looking paint job, sparkly paint job. But that's all changed since then too. But that's, and now I've my daughter now, who's 20 years old, Erin.
I was just gonna bring her up. She's quite a girl.
Yeah, she's kind of following my footsteps with this. She just bought herself it's a 1978 Scottsdale square body pickup.
Yep. Saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, Chevy pickup and Idaho truck. So we really untouched. I mean, there's like nothing touched in this thing. And she went out. She got her own loan. She paid for it. And I'm looking forward to come springtime working on that with her.
That's cool.
Now,
I love that.
Now, the big I believe it's the gold truck she had, right? The big 4x4.
Yeah, she had a 91 GMC with it's a 10-inch lift on 38s, but she sold that.
And she was driving it when she was 16, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
She was 16 years old when she got that.
That's how this girl stood out to me. She showed up at one of our events, and flags on the back. This country girl shows up, cowboy boots. Now, does she work on a horse farm too, right?
No, she recently just got a job. Actually, she started on Monday. She's doing an online college to be a vet tech, and now she just
Nice.
got a job at Bristol Vet Clinic, which she's working with not just dogs and cats, but farm animals. She's out in the field all day long dealing with horses, cows, goats, sheep, llamas.
That is a fun job, and she's going to have lots of interesting stories to tell. I used to do that.
And the thing, like I told Paul, I mean, I've known Paul for a while now, and of course he's got a Chevelle, and that was cool to me because I've got one too. And next thing you know, we were at this meet, and all these guys come in with these trucks, and next thing you know, we seen this big truck come rolling in with this big gold truck. I mean, it stands out.
Yeah.
It's like it was like a sunburst orange or something. And out of nowhere comes this 16-year-old girl, pops out with her jeans and cowboy boots on, her long red hair, with sunglasses, and I'm like, what? I'm like looking at that, I'm like, wow. And then Paul's like, yeah, that's my daughter. And I'm like, that was like way cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I've got 4 daughters, so I was like, that's really cool that he kept that going on. That's
For sure.
great
Yeah,
tradition, man.
she's a redneck girl, that's for sure. So.
I like it.
You could say
I
that.
like them.
She owns her own horse, and she she has she just got into a group of people that were all in the trucks and same things that she was into, and she liked that lifestyle, which I'm glad. I'm as a father, it's to see her the way she is now. And just like any father, to see your kids grow and mature into something positive.
Yes.
That's you can't put a price on.
No.
That,
Of course. Going back to the Wisconsin Car Show meet, is there anybody else that helps you that you'd like to give a little shout out to, or that one of your great helpers for doing this stuff? I mean, obviously you got a couple of them that you were talking about before, with Bob and Arlo, the LA Rats, the Simcoe guys. Who else helps you put this on during the day, or when you're over there?
Not really anybody. I mean, the show kind of runs itself.
Okay.
Ann Brotland, she helps me out a lot. She works at Knights of Columbus.
Okay.
And I deal pretty much directly with her as far as getting the date down. I get there early to help her get tables and stuff set up. So it's pretty much, and I've never really needed help, doing this, other than getting the word out. And, I think everybody done their part as far as, sharing the event and, because I don't have everybody on a Facebook page. So,
Yet.
let people, hey, please share this, invite people, the more the merrier, because the more information that we're going to receive for this, 2023 car show season,
Yeah.
So.
No, I think it's great, and I think what you're doing is going to be great. And I think, collaborating together with more people, the more you can network with and people share things, and maybe this new calendar that'll be out online that'll help out too. And we'll work together at any events that we have, and we can always promote everybody else's shows. And that's one of the biggest things why we started this Rev It Up, that we want to promote all things motor and all these events that are out there. So again, props off to you and hats off for what you're doing, man. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the help, and we'll definitely collaborate with you. World of Wheels will get you out there and get your props out there too, and maybe get some announcement at the Pinstripers or something like that too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I know you got to get going because you're a busy guy. You're actually at work. We stole you from work. You got to. Well, he told me he's got a walkie-talkie in his pocket that he was going to turn down. So hopefully nothing terrible.
It's Fridays is a little bit slower day where I work. I work at the Greater Milwaukee Auto Auction on Brown Deer Road, north side of Milwaukee. So. Thursday was our auction day. Every Thursday is auction day, and today, it's like kind of moving cars around and jump start. Everything here is either got a dead battery or a flat tire.
So
or the other.
I can be like, I know a guy, right? So if I say I'm looking for a car, I can be like, I can call Paul because I know a guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, I can't even buy cars here because I don't have a dealer's license.
Ow.
So I couldn't buy a car. So it. Yeah, it is what it is. But I tell you what, I've been working here for about a month now. I was a truck driver for about a year before that, and I'm a 30-year automotive mechanic. So I've been around. And here it's real easy. I do post-sale inspections on arbitrated cars, stuff like that. If people want it inspected before they actually purchase it, I'm the guy to do that. To do mechanical checks and frame checks and stuff like that. So it's, replace a battery here or there, change a tire out once in a while. So it's to do the everyday grind again of working on cars. It's too hard on my body. Plus my heart just ain't in it no more.
Yeah.
To do the everyday grind, to work on my Chevelle or Aaron's truck.
That's different.
That's fun to me,
Yeah.
So I could do that all day long.
Well, the other thing that I was going to touch base with, since we're still on and you didn't have to get, sneak off yet. The one big thing that I knew about you before that too, a lot of people don't, that you're actually a DJ. You have your own DJ service also for car shows and
I do,
events at Bowling Alleys and a lot of great stuff.
On the Limiter Productions DJ and MC service, you can find me on Facebook on that. Like my page, I do weddings, anniversaries, birthdays. I speak and MC different charity events. If you haven't noticed, I like to talk, so it's a lot of fun doing that. I've done speaking events anywhere from, like bowling benefits to, all different kinds of charity events, even if it's like in a hall or something like that. But, DJing, that's, I do a lot of fun. I also host music bingo every Thursday at Mulligan's, 6:30 I start
That sounds fun.
I was going to say, you should have just, obviously you called him, but you should have seen Jess's face. He said, music bingo. She was like, look at
I do love me some bingo.
Yeah, that'd be.
Right.
So how does music bingo work?
Well, music bingo, it's it's 4 games. You get bingo cards, obviously, and you can win with like different patterns. Each board's a little different, and each mixtape is a little different. You could have, let's say like a 50s and 60s mixtape, like what else? Like an 80s rock, or like 1991 versus 2000 or something like that. Yesterday was called, last week's was Disco Demolition, which was like disco and like 70s old rock stuff like that. So it's something different every week.
Sounds cool.
Dave Brath, he's a fellow DJ of mine. We're good friends, yet we're competitors. He does all the cards for me. I purchase the cards from him, and he does his own music bingo as well. He's a guy who actually got me into it, which is good. But yeah, every Thursday at Mulligan's in Franklin. Every other Wednesday at Brewtown Eatery on 51st and Howard, I do it too.
Wow.
You got to come out and join us one day.
Yeah,
And we're going to bring Justin too, because Justin looks like he's good with the music, so yeah.
So it keeps me going during when I'm like, this is kind of my off season now for like wedding seasons. I also host karaoke, which I do that maybe a couple times a month, but it's not bringing in the bucks like weddings do.
Sure,
but
for sure.
It consumes a lot of my time, but I sure have a lot of fun doing it.
One thing I was going to ask you is going back to the car show meet here in your with the Southeastern Wisconsin car show meeting that we have here. Are you seeing a lot of, like you've noticed, Simcoe is an older show, LA Rats is an older show. Are you getting a lot of, which we try to every year, are you getting a lot of the younger generation clubs in that are trying to start their own clubs here, or do you think it's a lot of the older groups that are still doing it? Because we always see, there's always haters on Facebook or, anywhere. Obviously, there's going to be haters. Yeah, we talk about this every week. Somebody's always got a bash, and everybody's like, well, we don't go to this because it's always about those clubs, and they've been around for a while. They're not going to welcome us in because we're a younger group or we're new. I mean, what is your take on that? I mean, we want to welcome everybody and get all these young kids involved too.
Oh, sure. And, I completely agree. As far as, I mostly see kind of the older generation in there. I do see, there is a handful of the younger generation that are in the older vehicles,
Right.
But, and I always thought, years ago, when the guys started coming out building their imports and stuff like that, I wasn't a huge fan, which, am I a huge fan of imports? No, I'm not. But, on the other hand, these guys built their cars just like we did. They purchase their car, they come up with a plan, they do, wheels and tires and, other modifications or whatever they want to do. And they're proud of them cars. Bob and Arlo talked a lot about this probably about 5 or 6 years ago, as far as allowing, making a class for like different kind of imports, make like 2 or 3 classes for imports. And, yeah, at first I was kind of taken back by it, but then again I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what, they're 100% right. Hang on one second, I got to answer a walkie-talkie.
Of course. We're just this is a brief commercial break for Paul, for Greater Milwaukee Auction Group.
Yeah, speaking of
Okay, I'll be right up.
Oh, you still there, Paul?
Okay, yeah, I'm still here. Sorry about that.
Again, we have a working man, so this is how hard he works for
how we roll.
Wisconsin car show clubs. So, he's working while doing this. So look what he's risking for you. All right, go ahead,
But
Jeff.
anyway, and after I thought about it, I was, I'm like, what, they're 100% right. These kids, they built their cars the way they want. Whether it's not a big V8 or not, or stuff that we necessarily like and our passion is. That's their passion. They built their cars and they're proud of that. Hey, look what I did. Hey,
Absolutely.
How about this? How about that?
Yeah, and they stick. Some of these we call them tuners. They call them tuners too. I've got guys that let's just face it, we call them anything we want to. I've got young guys that work for us for our companies and stuff like that. And I always say, me and you, if there's some big, Chevelle or a big truck going by with a nice big sound and big block in it or something like that, we always listen to it. These guys could care less, but all of a sudden we look around, there's a Honda Civic that goes by with we call it a little fart cannon. They all turn their heads, they're like, oh, do you see that? And I'm like, yeah. You guys are so different from us. But again, you look at what they throw. The engine bay of our Chevelles are huge. We can throw anything we want there. Look what all the engineering that goes in those compartments. So I just really want to give these young kids the props and say, we're welcoming you to everything that we do too. This show, your events, all this stuff, we want to hear more from you young kids.
Sure, most definitely.
Okay. Well, I'll let you.
Hey, I'm kind of out of time here.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, Paul, thanks for having us on the show. And again, you can follow Paul on his Facebook pages, DJ pages. We'll get all the links on our pages so we can collaborate together. And Paul, we'll see you at the World of Wheels.
See you there, man.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Paul.
Good.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me on the show.
Yep,
right.
of course. Yep.
And that's it for us.
Well, we're out of time already, too.
Yeah.
I thought Paul said he had 10 minutes. He kept talking, too, eh?
They always do.
Yeah. Did we get a lot of talkers on here, huh?
Oh, just think about how much we could talk if we had free reign. Well, you especially. I know when to shut up. Yeah. There's a difference.
I won't say a name, a.k.a. Pontiac Bob, who started out with his, what was it, Family Resort?
That was before. That was after his childhood. We started.
That was after his childhood. Yeah.
We started.
Bob, I'm giving you some crap here on the rodeo because I'm going to see him. I'm going to see you tomorrow night at the
Christmas party, the dragster Christmas party, the Gasser Christmas party. That's what it is.
Yep, we're heading down to Kenosha tomorrow night to meet that. That's why we can't be over by Paul's place and meet all the guys from there and hang out with the guys from Great Lakes Dragway and stuff. So
that'll be fun.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks to all our great sponsors and Brian from Silverleaf Signs and Graphics with our new stuff that was right behind us here. Our new Rev It Up signs with John and
our
Jess.
Swag
our
that we don't
swag,
wear.
and we wrap on the trailer here pretty soon too to get all the 2023 shows on. So, all right, everybody, thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook and all the
everywhere.
Everywhere that Jess
We're everywhere.
does. She's just so lazy. She shouldn't even say.
I'm lazy today. It's cold out. Okay, bye.
That's lazy. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. Bye.